Hey, welcome back, folks. You're watching Centerline Designs. My name's Cole, and today, well, we're not gonna be working on the Snowcat build. If you're new to the channel, this is the build that we've been working on for about 18 months. It's a custom tracked vehicle. It's got a turbo diesel, hydrostatic drive, and in the last video, we've been working on making some dies to start stamping out the metal parts to build the tracks for this rig. The first project we gotta get working on today is building an aluminum tank. This tank is for a YouTuber that I started talking with a few years back. His name's Rob. His YouTube channel is RaD Projects, and he built a Snowcat before me, so naturally when I was trying to design mine, we wound up chit-chatting and going back and forth and having similar interests. We really kind of hit it off and been talking ever since. I went back and forth with him a few times talking about my hydraulic design and just having him kind of double check my math and what I thought was gonna work. So he reached out to me because he has a current project that he's working on building a water chiller, and he's repurposed a window air conditioner, and it sounds kind of interesting. He likes to get up to oddball things, and he needed an aluminum tank. Knowing that I do a lot of aluminum work, he reached out, asked if I could build him a tank. I said for sure, so that's not gonna be a hard job, but it'll be kind of neat, so we're gonna get that done for him. I suggest you go check out his channel. He's always up to some neat project. His Snowcat build is pretty cool as well, so if you're into that kind of thing, go check him out. The second job we got to get started on today is a piece of furniture for my sister. She has this design that she would like for a little bit of an entertainment unit under her TV next to the wood stove. It's going to hold some TV equipment, some kindling, some firewood. So we got to do some aluminum square tube frames. They're going to put a nice laminated wood top on it. It's going to have shelves and dividers. And it's not gonna be overly complicated. The idea is kind of simplistic, but should be a neat little build. So I wanna bring you along. Let's show you what we do in a day not working on the cat. Okay, that's a lot of talking. We gotta go ahead, set up to get some metal cut and start bending and welding, and it's gonna be a whole day of TIG welding. So hope you enjoy. So this tank is going to be built out of 100 thou 50-52 aluminum. It's not overly thick. It really just needs to hold some water for him. So let's do some layout and go ahead and get everything cut. With all that cutting done, we need to go ahead, lay out our bend lines on this material now. We're gonna do a U shape with 2 external flanges. So that's gonna be 2 inside bends, 2 outside bends, and then we'll cut the sides and put the flange on it as well and take all the corners up and then cut a top. The tank's done. Really not too hard of a job. I'm working from the center outwards, so that we can keep each side the same. I find if you work from one side over, any little discrepancies make it not symmetrical, but if you can work from the center out, then even if it's not bang on, it's symmetrical. Okay, we're gonna go ahead, bend the external flanges first, and then do the inside bends. Eventually I'm gonna buy a really nice box pan brake. It's just, they're not cheap and I can't buy everything. All right, now the flange looks good. Well, I'm really happy with how that turned out. Getting to bend the metal like that just saves so much time in welding if you had to do every seam. So I'm really happy with that. It's just ever so slightly wider than I planned, but he said that's fine. I had a 1/2 inch tolerance in all dimensions, so it wasn't that critical. If I had a box pan brake, I could really get that dialed in, but this is gonna be just fine. That's why I haven't cut the side material yet. But it turned out really well. Let's go ahead, get the side material cut, bend the flange on, and start doing some welding. Okay, with those sides bent and cut out, we need to go ahead. I just want to deburr all the edges quickly. I like getting rid of those burrs even if I'm welding it, because the little aluminum burrs can have a little bit of contamination, or they'll catch the rag when you're doing your acetone wipe. So we'll hit that with the file, and we'll go ahead, we'll tack both sides on, give it a wire brush, acetone wipe, and then let's get into a bunch of TIG welding. This is kind of a nice change for me. I haven't worked with material this thin in a while, so I get to scale everything down. I run a 1/16 tungsten. We get to use a smaller filler, keep a smaller bead, less heat. Everything I've been doing lately seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger, but it's kind of fun to go to the thinner material. It's a bit of a challenge in itself, but always love a challenge. Alright, we even got a brand new pack of tungstens. I like using a 1.5 or 2% lanthanated. It just works the best for me, I find. My other go-to is serrated, if you're a TIG welder. I need a TIG torch holder. Put it on a nice clamp, hang it. Yeah, we're gonna have to make one of those one day here. Don't skip this step. Wipe your filler rods, because you see how much just oxidization and dirt and stuff's on there? If you want to get those really nice looking welds, you gotta do all the steps. Tank is pretty much fully welded now. That did present a little bit of a challenge, doing outside corners on material thinner than I'm used to right now. You know, it's a little difficult. The material sometimes just likes to fuse together, and then you can get a puddle moving really well, but then other times it seems like the puddle just wants to separate, and that's when it starts getting a little challenging, because it starts burning back and you get your puddle widening out further than you want. But I mean, it's pretty good. I really can't complain. I'm just being picky. I did leave these corners open because I figured it was a lot easier to come and weld in a little corner piece. It's not gonna matter for what's happening here. To incorporate these corners as we were cutting the material out, it would have been a lot bigger pain in the butt, because I wouldn't have been able to just make straight cuts. I would have had to do notches and other things like that. So welding these corners in after is just a lot easier for me. I'm gonna go get some pieces cut up, and then let's TIG these corners in. There we go. Tank's all done. I went ahead, cut the lid to fit, so that's really nice. I will take this in the house and water check it just to make sure, but I'm pretty confident it's just fine. I'm gonna go in, have some lunch, and then come on back out and let's get started on project number 2. All right, so project number 2 of the day is, as I said, this piece of furniture for my sister. It's gonna be basically a 3D rectangle with some storage for firewood, kindling, and you know, electronics for the TV. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna go cut a bunch of tubing up, 1.5 inch, 1/8 wall aluminum square tubing, cut it up on our new Evolution chop saw that they sent us, which is really awesome. And once all that stuff's cut up, we'll just start assembling the rectangle. So it should be pretty good. Even though this is a much larger thing we're making, I think it might take as much time or less than building that tank. So anyways, let's get over to the saw and start cutting material. Let's start laying out for the dividers. All right, these are all prepped and ready to go. With the front and back frames fully welded out, it's time to go in and let's frame out the top and bottom cubbies. We only need to do it on the front side because the back side, there's gonna be a piece of angle just like behind this square tubing that's gonna hold the shelf, and it's gonna be up against a wall. So we really only need to frame out the outside, and it's gonna look really good. So we'll go ahead, get these all welded in nice and straight, and then we can assemble this thing. There is the majority of the frame. I'm really liking how that looks. What we need to do next is put some 1-inch angle with just a slight reveal on the radius of the square tubing on the front and the back, and we'll do that for the top shelf and the bottom shelf. And then we need 2 dividers for the top, put the back on and the shelves. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work still, but it won't be too bad. That stuff will happen really fast, but that's gonna have to wait for tomorrow. We got ourselves a beautiful fall morning. Let's go get back in the shop. Hey, morning girls. How you two doing? Enjoying the sun? Well, everything seems to take a lot longer when you're videoing, but that's all right. We're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna continue on, get this done today. Probably could have got that all done in one day, but you know, things just take time. Well, something I keep forgetting to mention is that we do have a Facebook page, Centerline Designs on Facebook. If you want to follow us, you'll get to see the projects, pictures, maybe even short videos of things that don't make it into YouTube, but other little projects I get up to, customers, things like that. And this isn't going to be done in this video. I'm just doing the fabricating, and then my sister's going to take care of putting a coating on it and making the top and everything like that. So when it's completely done in place, I'll post some pictures on the Facebook page and show you what it turned out like. So go ahead, give us a follow, and see what other things we're up to. Okay, with this shelf coming in here, I don't want the material flush on the top. I want to give it a little bit of a reveal, recess it down just a little bit so that it looks really nice and seamless. We're going to go ahead, mark this reveal, get this 1-inch angle tacked into place, and keep going. And I was thinking I would be welding this angle on, but I don't want to just put a stitch weld at the bottom because that might tend to want to make the angle roll. I think I'm going to go ahead and just mechanically fasten with some nice countersunk stainless screws this angle to the square tubing. I think maybe not welding it is going to be the best idea. And then we'll do the same thing when we put the shelf in. We'll just do some countersunk screws, and it should give it a nice kind of aircraft riveted look with the flushed in countersunk screws. Okay, went ahead, got that piece of angle on. Now I'm gonna go ahead, get all the 4 others done, and we'll then cut some sheet metal to go in here, and then we'll have shelves. Oh yeah, I like that. That fits beautifully. I'm gonna go ahead, get the bottom one done, and then I think we're actually gonna secure these shelves with some pop rivets. Some aluminum pop rivets will look really good in there. This whole thing is gonna get coated in, I think, like a textured bed liner. It'll handle the wear and tear of putting kindling and logs and stuff in and out of it, and it'll be that, you know, more or less a flat black with the laminated wood top. It's gonna look really good. Well, it's starting to look like something, finally. I'm pretty happy. Those are nice and solid. All right, the only thing left is to cut the back panels. So I'm gonna go outside, get those cut up, and then they're just gonna get riveted on too, which you just watched me do. So I'm gonna get that done, and then I'll meet you back here. Well, there you have it, folks. Both jobs are done. I know that was a little bit more than a day. It was probably closer to a day and a half, but filming really can eat up a lot of time, and yeah, it's just how she goes. But I'm really happy with both the projects. This turned out phenomenal. I'm gonna post some pictures on our Facebook page, like I mentioned, when the top's done and it's all gonna get painted black. I'm suggesting like a textured undercoating. It'll just it'll look so nice with that wood top. The tank, it went really well. It's watertight. I leak checked it. Now, I will admit one problem, and I just realized it this morning. I built this tank out of 60 thou, not 100 thou, like raw bass. So we chatted, he thinks it's gonna be fine, it's gonna serve the purpose. It was one of those things, I grabbed the sheet of metal and in my head, I told myself it was 100. And I do think in the back of my mind, I knew it was a little thinner, but I just didn't question myself. And yeah, I guess that's what happens when you assume things, so. All right, note for next time, measure your material and don't assume. I was mentioning that you can check out on Rob's channel, RaD Projects, for the build that's gonna be coming up with this. It's gonna be up in a little bit. I obviously just finished the tank, so he has some more work to do before that comes out, but keep an eye out on his channel and you'll see what this was for. But anyways, really happy, turned out great. This is just sort of an idea of the other jobs that we do in the shop when we're not working on that thing. I'm really happy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.